98% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't lived the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and damn, they sent me where the life is be. The level 4 with depth and fight, the type of shit they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die, get chump. Never been a bitch, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get punked, and some sexually brutalized. I knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia, bulldogs and skinheads with big giant swastikas, pro-black philosophers, the BGF and Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. The Northerners was loony, quick to ride up on their rivals. Even Christians went to church, hiding knives up in their Bibles. Political and tribal, the Crips and moves. The Long Beach, the hubs and the dubs and the grooves. The IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pop rules. The hustlers quick to roll, the gangsta Crips move. Whatever click you choose, you better stick to the rules. Anybody can get hit, so never get the shit confused. Dudes big as Terry Crews, screaming, running for the guard. When your pistol goes, is you gon' still be hard.
Say, what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. Yard down! Now, for those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. If you happen to like this video, be sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe. Most importantly, hit that notification bell. That way, anytime I drop a story, you will be notified ASAP, and you can hop on it whenever you're ready. Also, man, yeah, that's me flowing on the intro. I keep telling y'all, man, the flow is nothing like Curtis Blow. That song is not out yet, but it will definitely be out. I'm gonna drop an EP, man. Hopefully, it will definitely be out by at least August 5th, August 6th, somewhere around there. Guaranteed, man. The song is finally mixed. I got everything done. I just gotta do the last final preparations, man. It's gonna be on all streaming sites. Yeah, we coming to you, man. Anyway, let's hop right up into this video, man. So somebody had asked me a question saying, hey, you know, Chill, is Christianity and finding religion basically sometimes frowned upon in prison? And if so, why is that? And my honest answer is yes, to a certain extent, especially if a person is a gang member, right? Because I guess the feeling is that, you know, you're out on the street, you gang banging, you're doing all this stuff, you know, you out there, you victimizing people, you're being tough, or at least you are claiming to be tough. Now, suddenly, when you are thrown in the mix with a bunch of other dudes who, you know, who tough, and now you have to deal with this stuff on a day-to-day basis. Now, suddenly, you can't handle it. You want to find God, you want to find religion, and take the easy way out, so you don't have to be held accountable, or you don't have to participate in the violence as much, right? And to a certain degree, man, I agree with that, you know, because if you're running around, you living this certain type of life, don't get caught up and suddenly now, you know, you need Jesus. Well, okay, let's start right here. So it reminds me of this situation, right? I was in Riverside County Jail. Now, I had been locked up for about 2 years because I was fighting numerous different serious charges, right? So in the course of that 2 years, I would see sometimes dudes go in and out. A dude might come in, stay in 2-3 months, get out. He'd come back another 3 or 4 months. Then he'd stay out a little while. You'd see him again. And so it was this one particular dude like that, man, from an LA gang, right? And so now I was in 3A in Riverside County Jail at this time, which was known as the Crip tank. And so when you would enter 3A, it would be something similar to what you might see on 60 Days In. You enter this area. It's like a round area. It has a guard or sheriff or whoever was working in there. He's in this little like cubicle, this behind the glass, and it's like an oval shape, and you know, it's tinted. He can see out, you can't see in, and in that section is 3 different pods: A pod, B pod, and C pod. One pod was for the Crips, the other pod was for the Southern Mexicans, and another pod was for like the whites, the Woods, you know. And so I'm out there one day cleaning up. Now I'm a porter. A porter is basically a janitor, you know, and so we get a little bit more freedom than the average prisoner that's locked up. You know, we get to stay out and clean and hop on the phone, so it has a few little privileges, right? So I'm out there. It's maybe about 4 or 5 o'clock. We've locked up for dinner or whatever. Everybody else is in their cell except for me and the other porter. Now, I happen to see this dude coming down the walkway, right? You know, I'm over there looking by the sliding door that lets people in. So I see him coming. I'm like, oh, okay, that's old boy. So now when he come up in there, he like, hey, chill, what's up, man? How you doing, man? I'm like, oh, man, I'm chilling. What's up with you? He like, oh, man, chill. I said, you back again, huh? His demeanor is just like he's real depressed or whatever. He said, hey, chill, man. When you get a chance, bring me one of them books. So like I said, this dude had been in a few times before. I had been known for having a lot of magazines, a lot of rap magazines, a lot of books. You know, I had my family going to SO1 or ESO1. It was an all-black bookstore in LA, and they sent me books. You know, I've always did a lot of reading. Even when I was on the street, I had an extensive personal library, and so I'd have a lot of books. So after a few minutes, I make my way over to his cell. I said, hey, what's up, homie? What you need, man? You want a reading book? You want a rap magazine? What you want to vibe? You want the source? You know, I had all type of stuff. He said, oh, no, man. I need one of them Bibles. I said, Bible? He said, yeah, man. Man, I got a hot one. I got a 187. So suddenly now that this dude is out here, you running around, you gang banging. Now that you done got this murder, now you need Jesus in your life. You know what I'm saying? But you weren't thinking about Jesus yesterday. So sometimes, you know, it all depends on how a person finds religion, whether it's frowned upon or not. Now, after a person has been in jail years upon years, you know, and you realize this this lifestyle is not what it's made up to be, sometimes finding the Lord in that situation was a little more acceptable, depending on who your homies was. Because if you was in tight with your homies and real loved and respected, sometimes they wouldn't trip. But you would you would always have certain homies who may feel like by joining, you know, a religious group, you was leaving the homies, you know, you was leaving the hood, you no longer had love for them. And for whatever reason, a lot of times, more times than not, for whatever reason, Christianity was seen as a weak religion. You know, it was seen as the more weak religion between Christianity and turning to Islam, you know, becoming a Muslim for whatever reason. You know, I think for whatever reason, Muslims have more of a militant stand in prison, you know, because you have Muslims who they don't necessarily have that turn the other cheek ideology or whatever, right? Matter of fact, speaking of Muslims, I was at Salinas Valley one day, and you know, in like those level 4 prisons, you have to go behind, you know, like the religious services, the canteen, the program office, it's behind the wall. So in order to get back there, you know, you have to be let through this gate, this electronic gate. They have to search you and pat you down and all that stuff. So one day I'm sitting over there waiting to go to the store, and all of a sudden I hear, you know, I'm sitting right outside of the chapel, and all of a sudden I hear Allah Akbar or something like that. Then all of a sudden you just hear rumbling, boogada doogada 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 doogada. Well, the two different Muslim factions was up in the chapel. They was in their squabbling. They had a little riot / melee up in there. I believe it was the faction who followed Farrakhan's son, and it was the FOI. So for whatever reason, you know, they had a disagreement. And so, you know, like I said, the Muslims was always seen as a more militant group. And sometimes, so if a person would turn Muslim, it wouldn't be frowned upon as much, depending on who his homies was. But in some cases, it was, you know. Also, speaking of Salinas in religion, I remember when I first got there, I had a cellie by the name of Scott. Now, Scott didn't gangbang. You know, Scott was probably about 20 years old, man. Young looking cat. Maybe about 5'9", 155, 160, you know. And he didn't gangbang, and he had life without parole. And he would be outside when they would let us out the yard. He would be out there walking on the yard in his shower shoes. And I would tell him, hey, man, I didn't know a whole lot about prison at that time, my damn self. But I knew enough to know that it definitely was not safe to be out there on the yard walking in shower shoes. Because in the event a riot jump off, especially a racial riot, dudes is not fit to say, hey, man, are you Christian? Do you gang bang? If the riot was between, you know, either the whites and the blacks or the Southern Mexicans and the blacks, they're not supposed to get this dude a pass. Having on them flimsy shower shoes, which I think they call them like thongs out here or something. You know, they had no foot support. You would just slide your foot in them. And so, you know, you could easily turn your ankle and fall and stuff. And it definitely wasn't safe. But, you know, he said that, you know, that God had his back, you know, that God would watch over him and protect him. Now, I don't necessarily doubt that, right? But I definitely believe that God also gives us the intellect and a sixth sense to know when certain situations is not safe, you know. So I ended up moving out of, matter of fact, I ended up moving out of the cell with him. He said, you know, he didn't like my rap music and all that type of stuff. And so I ended up moving on. There was also a dude up there, and I'm not gonna say his name, but initially he was a Christian, right? When I asked him, we was behind the wall one day, and I don't know what we was doing. I didn't hit him up gang banging. I'm just like, hey homie, what's up? You know, we was talking, like, where you from out there? He like, oh man, you know, I'm from Long Beach, man, but I don't bang. I'm a Christian, you know. And he had a bunch of time too. So 3 or 4 years later, both of us ended up at Ironwood. Now, once we get to Ironwood, now suddenly this dude is claiming West Coast 80s, which is a gang in Long Beach. Now I didn't put the dude out there, but situations like that is definitely frowned upon, because either you was gang banging when you first came to jail and you didn't want to represent, or you came to jail on the Christian tip figuring that you could deal with less violence being a Christian. And now once you get to hanging around your homies and this and that, and you see, okay, you know what? Man, jail ain't as tough as I thought it was. Now suddenly you want to start gang banging. Situations like that is definitely frowned upon, man, because like I said, you know, you have people feeling that, man, represent your gang. If you out there banging on the street, you know, you victimizing people, you doing what you doing. Now, once you come to prison, when you around a much larger presence of gang members, don't get soft and fold now, you know. But a lot of individuals is like that. It also reminds me of this one dude, man, and sometimes your homies will turn on you. It reminds me of this one dude. When I told you guys a story about when we got into it, some dudes tried to take my homie's cell phone, and then my homie was like, I'm going. You know, they tried to take his cell phone and run in his cell and take his cell phone. And so we was basically like, homie, you shouldn't have been horse playing with them dudes, because they were some young dudes. They'd be in this, they'd be wrestling around and recording it on the cell phone. Now, for whatever reason, the dudes from Compton or whatever, Compton and Watts, they get a big idea. They gonna take this dude's cell phone. So they run in there, they try to take the cell phone. At first he thought they was playing, you know. So the next day, as you know, now we gathered up, it's supposed to be a big hoopla. He's talking about, man, I'm going. You know, basically talking about he's going to stab these dudes. Wasn't no talking his way out of it. You know, I'm trying to say, hey, homie, that was a situation that you kind of helped egg on, because you horse playing with these dudes when you're not supposed to be doing that. You know, you want to take the whole car and wreck the whole car behind some stuff that you know you was wrong in doing. But wasn't no talking this dude about it. Man, I'm going. Okay, so homie, listen, I'm gonna support you, even though I don't feel that, you know, you 100% correct in this situation, but I do understand how you upset because these dudes tried to rob you, right? So I tell him, okay, don't trip, man. I'm supposed to go down here. I got some knives in the cell. I'm supposed to go down here and put a handle on it. And on the next unlock, which is in an hour, come downstairs. I'm going to give you the knives, right? So I go in there, me and a homie by the name of Money, older dude. We go in there. We put the handles on the knives or whatever. The next unlock, this dude is nowhere to be seen. Now, I'm outside standing around. You know, of course, the police, because the dude, the night before, they end up getting into a fight and got escorted to the program office. And so all this, they have a log book. So the police mark everything down. So they kind of know what's going on. You know, they see these two groups huddling up. So, you know, they've been watching me go back and forth and talk to this one particular dude, an older dude from Compton. He was maybe about 5'7", maybe about 155 pounds. Probably about 53, 54, had been down a while, you know. So I'm basically telling him, homie, your homies really was wrong, because they had no business in running in there trying to rob my homie. Now, me and this dude, we had a rapport because we played dominoes a lot. But he was more of the mindset of, you know, well, it's whatever, man. But he was supporting his homies 100%, which I felt was a little wrong, because me and this dude had a rapport, but not because we had a rapport, because, homie, you knew your homies was 100% wrong. So you're going to allow those dudes to potentially wreck you guys and also wreck another car when y'all really should be dealing with him, right? So I'm trying to get the situation resolved so it don't have to get no bigger than what it get. Like I say, fast forward, the homie is talking about, you know, he's going, he, you know, he ain't accepting this. So the dude is asleep. So I go up to his cell. It's pitch black. Him and his cellie is in there asleep. I knock on the door. I'm calling them. You know, they don't never wake up. So now I'm mad. You got me out here on Front Street with these knives, so on and so forth. So I go back downstairs. You know, I tell a homie, hey, these dudes is BS, and I put the knives up. Anyway, so later on, though, maybe about 4 or 5 months later, the dude who I was having negotiations with or whatever You know, he's older. He had a life sentence. You know, now it's around, I don't know, maybe 2015, 2016. Both of us are seeing a lot of lifers go home. So, you know, he like feeling like, man, this gang stuff ain't where it's at. And like I said, man, he had been probably locked up maybe 20 something years, somewhere around there. So he starts going to church, or maybe he had been going, but whatever happened, he ended up giving his life over to the Lord, you know, becoming a Christian. Told his homies, you know, I'm through with the gangbanging stuff, because you got these dudes in there doing 2 or 3 years, 5 years. They come in there, create a problem. You have homies who supporting them and got their back. And if it blows up, gets physical, gets into a riot, the dudes who have life, when they get rolled up or get a 115 for being in a riot, whenever they go to in front of the board, they have to answer to that. And if you happen to get a riot within 5 years of going to the board, you definitely gonna get a 3-year denial, a 5-year denial, as opposed to the individuals who don't have life. They might lose 90 days from their parole date. But if they stay out of trouble long enough, they can fill out a piece of paper and ask to have that time reinstated. So actually, they have lost nothing. And so, you know, after a while, you realize this, being on the front line for all these dudes, you know, because these dudes aren't really your homies per se. They're only your homie by geographical location, due to the fact that you guys are from the same region. So you may have not grown up with these dudes or knew these dudes from Adam, but due to how a lot of cars are structured in prison, suddenly you're homies. But these dudes aren't homies in the fact that they don't have regards for your situation, and they'll put you in a predicament over a small thing like a cell phone. So anyway, this dude, man, he finds God or whatever, and suddenly his homies turn on him. You know, he had a cell phone down there. He let one of his homies use the cell phone. They told him, hey, you ain't getting it back, you know. So dude wasn't no buster. He tried to go get the cell phone back. They jump him, you know, beep, boop, bop, beep, boop, bop. Get on his helmet, though, you know what I'm saying? And dude never gets the cell phone. Now, I don't know if it was because he found religion, you know, but whatever, they definitely didn't respect him. He was a little older, you know, he was short. He wasn't a big dude, you know what I'm saying? And so they did him dirty. But you know, that's how it is sometimes in prison, man. Some of your own homies will turn on you, or some of your own so-called homies will turn on you for the smallest things, man. And especially, like I said, sometimes when you find religion, because now they feel like, okay, homie, you a God, you turn to God, okay, you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, okay, whatever. You can't straddle the fence. You can't be on both sides. So, all right, we respect you, homie. You're gonna do what you do, but when you get in some trouble, you on your own. Don't come over here calling for the homies. Remember, homie, you a Christian, you know. But then I've also seen homies who was well respected, and they homies still got their back. So sometimes it just depends, as a lot of times with it's selective politics. It just all depends on who that person is. But anyway, you already know what it is. It's your boy 16 to Life. I see that y'all like that Denver story, man. I'm going to try to hit y'all with a couple more, maybe tomorrow. Anyway, it's your boy 16 to Life. Resume normal program.
Off that life, we gon' see the shit you own, and where you still be stepping when your pistol gone.
Ain't no Dracos or Fofos, and you will not be saved by the COs. Sometimes it's not even safe when the doors close. Just knife play and hand-to-hand combat in a land where it's never combat. Fake tough guys and actors sometimes get forced to put their boxers on backwards.